I am sure that I am speaking for everyone here tonight when I say that it has been a privilege to participate in this profound act of community worship. Without doubt, it is the high point of our centenary year of celebrations, this Eucharist, and the blessing and anointing of the new altar by Cardinal John O'Connor, the envoy of our Holy Father, Pope John Paul II. It is certainly a celebration of 150 years of magnificent achievement. But equally certainly, it is more than that. It is a springboard. It is a sign of our determination, with the grace of God, and only with the grace of God, our determination to hand on the flame of faith undiminished to the coming generations. Now, I'm one of those gospel examples of people who reap where others have sown. Tonight, those who have given great leadership in this enterprise of restoration, this giant project, have been mentioned. Perhaps the Dean didn't mention himself, but Mr. John Ralph, Mr. Ted Exel, Mr. Ed Ryan, Father O'Reilly, Mrs. Jean Cornish, many donors, the states and federal governments, lay people, priests and religious. I repeat the thanks of the Church to you all. But I also want to repeat again a special mention made by Cardinal O'Connor. The thanks that are due to the man who had to decide at a time of financial depression, a man who had to decide to launch this process. And that is Archbishop Frank Little. Archbishop Little took that decision, and he's been magnificently vindicated. To all those involved in preparing the ceremony, the Diocesan Master of Ceremonies, Father Portelli, the servers, the choir, Mr. Alan Steele, Mr. Max Potter, the Dean certainly, all those that I haven't mentioned, a deep expression of thanks. And now a word about the principal celebrant. There have been irregular contacts between the Catholic churches of New York and Melbourne since the days of Dr. Carr, our second Archbishop. The most spectacular was the visit of Dr. Mannix to New York around about 1921, when he was given the freedom of the city. I think he was beginning that journey, that voyage across the Atlantic, when he was arrested on the high seas by the British Navy and prevented from entering Ireland. He was taken ashore at Penzance, the pirates of Penzance. The Archbishop opined that it was the greatest British naval victory since the Battle of the Jutland. The voyage had had a rough start in New York itself, when the British crew of the liner said that the boat would not sail if Dr. Mannix was a passenger on it. But the Irish-American wharfies had the last say by explaining that the boat certainly would not sail unless Dr. Mannix was a passenger. And the boat did sail. Times are quieter now, thanks be to God. On Friday, I was speaking to the Pope before I left to return to come to this ceremony. I explained to him that I was leaving a bit early to be here on time. I told him about our loyalty to the successor of Peter. I asked him for his prayers for us now and into the future. And I also said, perhaps mistakenly, because at that stage I didn't think that Cardinal O'Connor would accuse me of attempting to kill him. I said to the Holy Father that he couldn't have done us a greater honour than by appointing the Archbishop of New York to come among us and to celebrate this Mass. Your Eminence, we deeply appreciate your presence. We thank you for your magnificent and encouraging homily. We wish you every good thing, every peace, every blessing for the years ahead. Thank you.
Archbishop Pell, that's a variation of the story that I had heard about Archbishop Mannix. I had been told by other and perhaps much more truthful Australians that he walked back. And because of the nice things you said, I will say nothing to the Holy Father about your attempts on the life of his envoy, but I shall certainly assure you that you will hear from my insurance carrier when I return. Now I will again thank you. This has been one of the truly great privileges given to me in all of my years as a priest, a bishop, as a cardinal. I am deeply indebted to our Holy Father, to Archbishop Pell, to all of my brother cardinals and bishops here, but in a very special way to you, God's people. You are indeed the living cathedral. I will now ask my brother cardinals, bishops, and all my brother priests on this very special occasion to join in giving you the final blessing of the Mass.